Okay, today we're on odds, 12-8. You want to be on the reading to learn side. Before we start the odds, I just want to go over what probability is first, because they're very similar except for the bottom number, and they're really easy to get confused. So we want to look at the fraction or the ratio, what goes on top, what goes on bottom, because they're slightly different. They look very similar but slightly different. So probability has favorable outcomes on the top. In other words, what you want to get, how many choices there are of what you want, over total possible outcomes, which is how many total outcomes there are. So if you're looking at a six-sided number cube and you want to roll a 1, there is only one 1 on there out of 6 total, okay? Now odds are slightly different, because if I wanted the odds in favor of rolling a 1, with odds it's still favorable on the top if it says in favor of what you want to happen on top, so it's still a 1 because there's only one 1, but instead of the total possible outcomes on the bottom, it's going to be unfavorable outcomes. So it's how many ways can you get a 1 over how many ways can you not get a 1. So that fraction looks like this. Favorable outcomes on the top over unfavorable outcomes on the bottom. And if you added these, if you add top and bottom, it's total outcomes. So thinking of that number 1 on the number cube, there's one way of getting a 1 and there's 5 ways of not getting a 1. So you would have 1 on top and 5 on the bottom, and if you add 1 and 6, that's 6 total outcomes on that number cube. So the odds in favor of, it'll say in favor of or against. In favor of an outcome is the ratio of the number of successes to the number of failures, or favorable over unfavorable. It's the same thing. If I want odds against, it's failures to successes. So that would be unfavorable over favorable. What you don't want, if it's against, if it's the odds against it happening, then what you don't want to happen goes on top. What you do want to happen goes on the bottom. The number of successes added to the number of failures, or favorable plus unfavorable, equals the number of total possible outcomes. To find the odds of an outcome, you compare the number of successes with the number of failures. So it is a ratio. So let's look at the spinner and complete the following. The number of possible outcomes. So on this spinner, we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay? So there are 8 total outcomes. The odds in favor of spinning an even number. So you have 8 total. That means the top and bottom have to equal 8 every time when you're doing odds. In favor of means what I want goes on the top. So of spinning an even number, 1, 2, 3, 0 would be considered even. So 4 of them are even. That means 4 of them are not even because there's 8 total. You could write it as fraction form, or you could write it in a ratio form with the colon in there for odds. I don't care, either way is fine with me. Now when we do probability, we like to do probability in fraction form. So probability of spinning an even number is a little different, because remember, it's what I want, which is 4 evens possible, but this is out of the total, and that would equal 1/2. Okay? Oh, I forgot on this one too. Reduce it, sorry. We always are going to reduce. So 4 to 4 would be the same as 1 to 1. The odds in favor of spinning a number less than 5. So I have to count how many numbers are less than 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are less than 5. Doesn't include 5. And that means that 3 of them must be bigger than 5. 5 or bigger, right? 1, 2, 3. because it has to total 8. That is already in simplest form, so you could write it this way, or you could write it with the colon in there for odds. The odds against spinning a number less than 5, the odds against that means what you want to happen goes on the bottom. So spinning a number less than 5. So there are 3 that are not less than 5 and 5 that are less than 5. So when it's against, it goes backwards. Okay? Go ahead and flip it. So the odds in favor of an outcome, again, is the ratio of the number of ways the outcome can occur to the number of ways it cannot occur. So successes, failures, favorable, unfavorable, whichever way is going to be easier. Odds against, remember, is the ratio of the ways the outcome cannot occur to the ways it can. So failures to successes, or unfavorable to favorable, however you want to remember it. So let's go down to the bottom, and we're going to do some practice problems. So we're finding the odds of each outcome if a pair of number cubes are rolled. So a pair of number cubes being rolled, do I have a sheet with that on there so you can see all of those? I'm not sure if I have the sheet. That would make it easier for you. All right, hang tight, because I know I'm going to have to start over. All right, in the textbook on page 311, these are all the outcomes that can happen when you roll 2 number cubes. So you can roll a 1 and a 1, a 1 and a 2, a 1 and a 3, a 1 and a 4, a 1 and a 5, a 1 and a 6. So it'll be easier if we look at this as we do these. Okay. So you have that textbook if you need to look at page 311. Okay, page 311 is where you'll see the table. Okay, so a pair of number cubes are rolled, not a sum of 7. So you would have to go through here and you would have to count all the ways that you cannot get a sum of 7. So I think finding a sum of 7 is probably the faster way, and then going backwards from that, right? So a sum of 7, if you look at these, they kind of go, the sums go diagonal. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways to get a sum of 7. In that chart, there are 36 total outcomes, because it's 6 by 6. So there are 30 ways to not get a sum of 7 and 6 ways to get a sum of 7. So that would be a 5 to 1, or you can do it with the colon. Okay? The next one says a sum less than 5 or greater than 9. So less than 5 means we don't want to include 5, so we don't want to include this row. So that means sum of 4, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or greater than 9. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that means there are 12 ways to get a sum less than 5 or greater than 9. That means there have to be 24 ways to not do that, since there are 36 total. So that one would be a 1 to 2 or 1 colon 2. I don't care which way you do it. A sum that is a multiple of 3. So if it's a sum that is a multiple of 3, that means 3 could go into it. So numbers like 3, 6, 9, 12. And because we don't have sums bigger than 12, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for 3, 6, 9, and 12. So there's 1, 2, no, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, nope, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. So there are 12 ways to get a sum that is a multiple of 3, and 24 that aren't, so that's another 1/2. A double number. So if you look on there, double numbers go this way across. So a double number, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 ways to roll a double number. So 6 ways to roll a double number. That means if it's a total of 36, 30 ways to not get a double number, so that would be 1 to 5. And then if I don't want to get a double number, it just goes backwards. 30 ways to not get a double and 6 ways to get a double, and you would have 5 over 1. Because this is a ratio, make sure that you have the 1 on the bottom, okay? And you could keep going on and on. Let's move on to the hockey team. A hockey team scores 3 goals for every 30 shots taken. What are the odds in favor of the next shot being a goal? So they make 3 goals out of this many. So out of 30, favorable is 3 goals. 3 would go in, 27 would not, okay? Because it has to be 30 total shots, which then would be a 1 to 9 odds. A bookshelf holds 12 mystery, 3 history, 4 how-to, and 11 self-help books. What are the odds of randomly picking a how-to book? So you first have to count how many you have. I've got 15 and 15, there's 30 total. So we want a how-to book. There are 4 how-to books. That means that if there's 30 total, there has to be 26 that are not how-to books. And if I reduce that, it is 2 to 13. A professional football team finished the season with a record of 10 wins, 6 losses. What are the odds of its season of winning a game? So this is, the total is 16, but it says winning a game. The odds were 10 wins to 6 that were not wins or losses, and then you would reduce that to 5 to 3. And this should total the same thing as that one. Okay? So remember, on odds, you want what you want over what you don't want, not over the total like in probability.